A horned lark is nesting in our high school garden. These are the 4 babies the day they hatched. I often see broad-winged hawks in May. They are probably migrating through, as it's much more common for them to nest in central Minnesota, although some stick around all summer. They are opportunistic hunters during migration, usually picking off small mammals. Barred owl was also busy hunting in May, as both parents worked to feed the young. The sun is just about to pop through the trees. It's May 14th, and we're at the Crowhassan, and about 5:45 a.m. we're going to do about a 2-mile warbler walk here. The walk was a success. After the yellow-rumped and palm warblers move through, you start seeing black and white warblers. We usually have magnolia warblers for the first full week the leaves are on. Besides the yellow chest with black stripes, that white spot on their wing helps with identification. The golden wing warbler has a buzzy call that sounds very similar to the blue wing warbler, and apparently they do hybridize. We happen to see one of each in the same tree on this morning walk. The blue wing is in our area all summer, as this is the north edge of its breeding range. The golden wing is passing through, as it breeds a little further north in central Minnesota. This shot of the northern parula shows the typical view of a warbler. You learn to look for one distinct feature as you stare at their underside in the canopy, such as the yellow chin and throat. Like so many warblers in the second week of May, they are just passing through. The American redstart is also back and will be here all summer. I usually see them hunting insects in pairs. They never sit still for a photo. And this blast of orange is a quick glimpse of the black burning warbler, one of the stars of this episode. After ending our walk with a wood duck pair, I headed to school where I checked on the horned lark babies, now 2 days old and growing rapidly. Both parents hunt the grass non-stop to bring grubs and bugs to the 4 hungry mouse. Somehow the babies could see the parents coming from a long way off, and the nest would come to life. If there was not a tomato cage marking this nest hidden in the grass, you would never see it until the babies stretch out their neck and open their huge mouths. They have 8 days to be 8 times the weight they were born with, so the feeding continues about every 15 minutes. This makes it easy to get a photo if you ever stumble upon a nest. Hummingbirds drink every 12 minutes on average, which also makes the photo schedule pretty easy. Wood ducks are also making plans to nest in our pond again. Here you can see the muskrat startled the hen off its perch. The oblivious drake assumes he must have done something wrong and hurries to follow. We had already found the returning hermit and Swainson's thrush this spring, but the wood thrush, which makes one of my favorite calls, made its return on May 14th. As you already seen, May 14th was also the first day for the hummingbird to find my feeder this year. This was the same day the Baltimore Orioles finally discovered my jelly. Up until that point, it had been just house finches and the obnoxious red-bellied woodpecker. I think the trick was switching to an orange bowl, since orioles are attracted to the color orange. On May 16th, I made one final visit to the horned lark family. It seemed they were still making their grocery budget work for their 4 soon-to-be fledgling hungry mouths. Blackburnian warblers are probably a 9 out of 10 in my favorites to see during migration. They are normally very high in conifers, so you don't get a chance to appreciate that they are the only warbler with a flame orange throat. But during migration, any wooded habitat will do. I'd missed my chance to photograph one when they came through southern Minnesota, but fortunately there was one singing early in the morning near my camper in northern Minnesota. They winter in the Andes Mountains, so their migration to Canada is one of the longest among warblers. The leaves were barely on the 3rd weekend of May, which made it easier to find the warblers. This guy was traveling with chestnut-sided warblers. Here he was able to find a tent caterpillar that was stuck to a tree. Notice the whip crack technique. I think they do this beating technique to prey, to subdue it and soften it. There's so much neck craning involved in photographing warblers that it's hard to not overdo it once they're in good light. They're so active that it's a feat just to keep the camera on them. So for that reason, here's a few more Blackburnian warbler photos before I let them go. I have been reminded of just how bad I am at identifying flycatchers this spring, with the exception of the eastern phoebe, who always pumps his tail. I was hoping to add one more warbler for this video, and I wanted it to be a 10 out of 10. The prothonotary was just what I was looking for. We actually found 2 males in a park on the Mississippi in Dayton. Literally everyone I've ever seen has been right on the Mississippi. They're usually in the understory, but this guy was hanging out in the canopy. It was also a very dreary evening, tough lighting for photography. After about an hour of patiently dragging the tripod around, he finally gave us some decent perches. The males are enthusiastic singers this time of year, and so despite the dense cover, we were able to continuously keep track of him. All in all, it was a pretty good spring for seeing migrating warblers. Couldn't capture them all with the camera, but I saw a lot. And just like that, most have pushed through. It's much tougher to get them on the way south, so it'll be May of 2027 when the next opportunity arises. Thanks for watching.